Yes, ma'am.
We're streaming.
Thank you, Kelsey. We are now live on YouTube.
You're ready to start, Curtis.
Am I ready? Okay. I apologize for this, everybody. Anyway, the meeting of the Legislative Council of the University of Interscholastic League is now in official session. For the record, it's approximately 9 a.m. on Friday, May 1st, 2020. In accordance with the waiver to certain provisions of the Texas Open Meetings Act issued by Governor Greg Abbott on March 16, 2020, and in the interest of avoiding large gatherings and promoting social distancing during this pandemic, this meeting is being held via teleconference and is streaming live. I am Curtis Rhodes, Superintendent, Meadville Independent School District. Council members, I will now ask Susan Doherty, the UIL Assistant, to call the roll. Please respond if you're here. Susan?
Ryder Warren. Marty Crawford.
Here.
Mark Henry. Eric Wright.
Here.
Keith Bryant.
Here.
Kevin Worthy.
Here.
Greg Poole.
Here.
Roland Hernandez.
Here.
Bobby Azam. Keith Murphy.
Here.
Benny Swallow.
Here.
Curtis Rhodes.
Here.
Jim Waller.
Here.
Jason McCullough.
Here.
Kevin Nowak.
Here.
Joanne Bluda.
Here.
Jim McClellan.
Here.
Todd Morrison.
Here.
Richard Kilgore. Todd Pavlak.
Here.
Wayne Henderson.
Here.
Aaron Hood.
Here.
Cliff Gilmore. Cody Moray.
Here.
Robin Ryan.
Here.
Susan Bond.
Here.
James Brewer.
Here.
Latanya Goffney.
Here.
Thomas Randall.
Here.
Walter Jackson.
Here.
Steve Flores. Arturo Cavazos. Mr. Chair, that completes the roll call.
At this time, I certify that a quorum of the Legislative Council is present. Council members, we ask that during this meeting, you only discuss the items we're voting on today. If you have questions or concerns about any other topic, please send an email to the UIL staff. Adoption of rules. Unless there's an objection from the committee members, this meeting will be conducted in accordance with the 2019-2020 Constitution and Contest Rules. Hearing no objection, it is so ordered. Adoption of the agenda. Unless there's an objection from the committee members, the agenda for the business meeting shall be set out in the posted agenda, unless otherwise announced by the chair. Hearing no objection, the agenda is officially adopted. It is now time to recognize Dr. Charles Bryda for the Executive Director's report. Dr. Bryda?
Thank you, Chairman Rhodes, and I'll be brief because I know all of you are busy. I want to thank you all for participating today. We just have 2 action items we need your assistance on today, and we'll try to move as quickly as we can through any other business. In fact, we're laying aside all the other things we ordinarily do when we gather because this is a special call meeting. We have some new members and we welcome you. Thank you for joining us on the council. We're excited about where we are. We know we have some challenges ahead, but we know we're up to the task. And with you and your support that you've always given us, we know we can make some positive decisions as we move forward. I want to say thanks not only to our chair who helped us pull this together, but to our staff for the work they've done since March 12th, when we canceled the boys basketball tournament. That was a tough decision, and I know that each of you faced decisions in your own school districts about whether to cancel school or not before the commissioner and the governor made their decisions. But our staff has been working behind the scenes since that time. We've been working remotely, but we've gotten great support from the university. Even though we're not on campus, our staff is working every day. Dr. Harrison has been in constant contact with the commissioner's office and with the governor's office, and he's worked with the senior staff each and every day. Susan Doherty has done her continued fine job as our executive assistant, as has our chief of staff, Kim Carmichael, working with HR on how we deal with our staff who's working away from the office. And as you can tell, Caroline Walls and Arlo Flores have been magnificent as they helped us conduct so many of these Zoom meetings, including 2 meetings of the Medical Advisory Committee. We have Dr. Stevens and Dr. Kent, and Dr. Elza, who all have activities that have been suspended and are canceled. And I thank them for working with their staff. They have gone through several different generations of plans to move forward, only to see those have to be set aside because we're unable to have any activities without students in school. And Daryl Beasley has also been a part of our senior staff that's been a great support to us working with the state executive committee. I don't want to regurgitate all the things that you've already dealt with, because at your own school district, you're having to do things in a manner which you've never experienced before. And these are unique times. And I just recall a quote that I heard: "The measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." That came from Martin Luther King. And that's appropriate for us. It's not how good you are when things are good. It's how good you are when things are tough. And we are in tough times. There's nothing we wanted more than get our students back on the fields and the courts and then the classrooms this spring, but it didn't happen. So we're faced with making some decisions as we move forward. Even though we've lost the spring seasons and the basketball tournament, we are hoping with all hope that we can resume sometime this summer with our off-season conditioning programs and non-school opportunities with coaches to work with students, and then open up with our band students and marching band sometime in July. But that may not happen. So we are making plans for both the regular start of school and our activities. And then if there's a delayed start, what we might do. We're also planning for what might happen if we start and have to stop again. God forbid that happens, but if it does, our staff is up to the task. And I know that you'll work with us to help make these things happen. So while you know what's happened and what we're doing now, our plans are focused on the 2021 season. And our academic staff and our music staff are working in concert with our athletic staff to make sure that we have a bona fide plan that meets your standards. We understand that the decisions that you get from the governor's office make it difficult when they don't speak to us about our activities, but we made the call and we believed it was the right call when schools were canceled for the spring, that we too would stand aside on our activities. We'll continue to work in that manner. I'll just tell you that I have a lot of calls about what are we going to do about football? What are we going to do about our fall sports? We're not going to start any practices in the summer until we see that the National Football League, college football, the NBA, Major League Baseball, any of the pro sports, none of those have resumed play. In fact, I saw yesterday that Little League Baseball canceled their August World Championships, the Little League World Series. So that tells you that across the world, activities have been canceled, so we're not the only one. I can tell you our brother states and sister states, all 50 have canceled or suspended their activities for the spring and up to a point in the summer. So we're not alone in this. We're not going to get ahead of the curve. We're going to make sure our students are safe just as you are. And we applaud you for the work you've done in delivering education and even meals to students who are not able to come to school. We know that you have unique challenges, and we don't want to add to your concerns. So we're not going to go ahead of you. We're going to work in concert with you, and that's the purpose of this meeting today. We do have a couple of action items we want to present to you today, and I will turn that over back to our chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Brydup, and appreciate all your leadership during this time. It's now time that right now I'll recognize Dr. Jamie Harrison to discuss the resolution to temporarily expand the authority of UIL Executive Director due to the COVID-19. Dr. Harrison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Brydup. Members, what you have before you is a resolution that we are proposing that is very, very similar to resolutions that you may have passed in your school district. When you have these uncertain times and you have to be able to pivot rather quickly at times, we believe a resolution of this nature will be very beneficial. It does grant additional authority to the executive director, Dr. Brydup, to make adjustments to UIL rules as needed related to the COVID-19 crisis. I think it's important to note that the resolution is limited in three very important ways. Number one, it's limited in time. There is an expiration date on it. Number two, it is limited to making adjustments that are specifically needed as it relates to COVID-19. So this is not a license for staff to sort of take some ideas out for a test drive, if you will. This is specifically related to COVID-19. And number three, the resolution states that Dr. Brydup, as the executive director, and UIL staff will communicate with the council on a regular basis when we utilize the authority granted in this resolution. Some examples of how this resolution may be applied certainly include scheduling and start dates for specific sports and anything related to scheduling that may need to be adjusted. Some of that Dr. Brydup already has the authority to do in the Constitution. We recognize that students have missed a lot of time with their band directors and their coaches and their academic sponsors. They've missed a lot of time in their activities. And so where we restrict access to kids and opportunities for our school staff to work with kids, we fully intend to relax those restrictions, give them some opportunity to make up for this missed time whenever it is that we can safely convene again and conduct workouts, for example. I expect to see some significant alteration to coaching restrictions, specifically in the summer and in the fall, as we move forward, allowing kids and coaches the opportunity to make up for as much of this missed time as they have, as we can offer. In the music arena, there's a couple of very similar examples where there's some restrictions on marching band practice that will have some considerations offered to it, some extensions of those opportunities, and then some other administrative type things. We have some, many of you have been on the council for some time will remember the rather lengthy and heated debate about the music region executive committees and fund balances related to those. So some necessary adjustments will need to be made considering how many activities we missed this fall or missed this spring, and what's going to happen this fall is still unknown. So that's the point of the resolution. Again, it's very similar to those that many of you, if not all of you, passed in your school districts with those very specific three caveats. There's a limit on time, a limit on how it can be used, and it requires that we communicate with you when it is used.
Mr. Chairman, this is Mark Henry. I move that we pass the resolution.
Okay, Mark Henry with the motion. Do I have a second?
Joanne Luda.
I'll second.
without being able to see anyone. Susan, who had the second?
I think Joanne Bluta had it first.
Okay. Joanne Bluta with the second. Council members, is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll give you instructions on voting and then we will call for the vote. If you're connected on your computer, please click on participants at the bottom of your Zoom screen. A list of participants will appear. At the bottom of the participant list, you should see options to click on yes and no. Council members who have called in, please enter *9 if you would like to vote yes or aye. Any questions on how to vote? I now call for a vote on the resolution to temporarily expand the authority of the UIL Executive Director due to COVID-19. Please vote at this time and leave your vote up until UIL staff has recorded the vote and cleared the responses.
I'm not that smart.
Susan, since I'm on your FaceTime or phone, I'm voting yes,
Okay,
just for the record.
I will put that down.
Susan, I'm on the phone too, so I vote yes. James
Okay.
Brewer.
Thank you.
Are the results in, Ms. Harris?
There are a few that have not voted yet. We clearly have a majority.
Okay.
Dr.
Then I'm gonna
Poole,
go ahead and call.
I'm sorry, Dr. Poole, have you voted? Okay, we have a majority.
Okay, let the record show that the resolution is passed with a majority of the vote. Now the UIL staff will clear the vote. Okay, do we go on? We'll move on to action item. The chair now recognizes Dr. Jamie Harrison again to discuss temporary modification to section 1205A, individual report forms, and section 1478D, general regulations for athletic competition. Dr. Harrison?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, this being a health and safety measure, we chose to bring this to you as a separate proposal. As you can imagine, our healthcare resources are stretched at the moment, in addition to restrictions on people being able to go and do normal things like get a sports physical. This is a national issue. What we're proposing to you is consistent with recommendations from the National Federation Sports Medicine Advisory Committee. Essentially, what the proposal does is says that a student who received a physical examination and was cleared for participation last year may continue to participate this year, unless there is some indication on the student's medical history form that would require further medical evaluation. Students who have not received physicals previously, so for example, incoming 7th graders in athletics, incoming 9th graders in marching band who did not receive a physical in 8th grade for some other reason, those who have not previously received a physical and been cleared for participation will still be required to get one. But all of those who have previously received a physical and been cleared for participation, as long as their medical history form is clean, may continue to participate without an additional physical. The UIL Medical Advisory Committee met actually twice to discuss this at length. Again, this is a recommendation from the UIL Medical Advisory Committee and is consistent with recommendations from the National Federation Sports Medicine Advisory Committee. We recommend passing this proposal as presented.
Mr. Chairman,
Sir, do I?
Thomas Randall, and I move approval.
Okay, I've got a motion by Dr. Randall. Do I have a second?
Kevin Worthy.
Second by McRoe.
Okay, I didn't catch you at the second, Susan, but you
I'm-
do have a motion and a second.
I believe it was Kevin Worthy. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
All right.
So we have a motion and a second. Council members, is there any discussion? Hearing none, please vote using the same method as before. I'll now call for a vote on the temporary modification of section 1205A, individual report forms, and section 1478D, general regulations for athletic competition. Please vote at this time and leave your vote up until UAL staff has recorded the vote and cleared all responses. Susan, again, I vote yes.
Okay. It looks like that is a unanimous vote in favor.
Thank you very much. Let the record show that the resolution has passed with a unanimous vote. Just a general announcement, reminder to all the council members that the June Legislative Council meeting will be held on Tuesday, June 16th, 2020. Information will be sent out prior to the meeting as to the methodology. I want to thank everybody for attending this meeting, and before we adjourn, I want to apologize for my lack of technology. Evidently, as many Zoom meetings as we have, I dressed up for this meeting so y'all can see me. Whether that's fortunate or unfortunate, and then I have to call in so you don't get to see me. So, as my athletic director says, always be uncommon. So that's the way we need to adapt and overcome. God bless everybody and be safe. I hereby rule that thank you for attending. Unless there's an objection, this meeting of the Legislative Council of the UIL is now adjourned. God have a great day.
Thank you.